Yeah, so I remember one time I had one of my mortgage loan officers that I was training and doing some coaching with, and he was a top producer. And it's just funny because sometimes we just get away from the basics. And what was going on is I teach everybody and I coach everybody the same way. And I have proven scripts and proven sales presentations that work. They just flat out work, but you have to follow it. And sometimes it's just easy to human nature starts taking over, and all of a sudden we start taking shortcuts, right? So we clip this over here, we take a shortcut over there, we cut this corner and that corner, and before you know it, we're off track. So what was going on was he was a top producer, and he always had good numbers once he got his rhythm, and all of a sudden his numbers started dropping and dropping and dropping, and then he called me and he's like, "Hey, Oliver, I think I need some help." And I said, "What's going on?" He says, "My numbers just keep dropping." And the first week I didn't think anything of it. The second week I didn't think anything of it. And now I'm going on the third week where I'm having, some of the worst numbers ever as far as once I became a top producer. So I said, okay, well, let's do some role play. And that's one of the things I love to do. I love to role play new people, old people, veterans, non-veterans, doesn't matter. You have experience, don't have experience. When you role play, you really get the chance to see what's going on both ends. If you're not prepared yourself, you feel that. And if you are prepared or something's going on and you're off track, then I'll see that. So we started role playing, and immediately I could tell that he was off track. And I said, keep going. So we're doing a role play. And he didn't want to do the role play. He's like, well, I'm experienced. I don't have to do role plays anymore. We got to do the role play. I got to see where you guys are at. You can't just tell me what you think the problem is. I have a system. And when something's off track, I'll be able to figure it out right away. Sure enough, he started role playing with me. And I could tell where the problem was at. So all of a sudden, when he was doing as a role play, we do what's called a sign off. And the sign off is when you meet with the customer, you have all the paperwork, and you get them to sign off and authorize everything. The 1003, the application, the GFE, the till, everything. They're just doing all the disclosures right then and there. We're going full force from the first time we meet there. So he gets to the section he gets to the I think it was the GFE or the till, the truth in lending or the good faith estimate. But one of those, he says, "Oh, okay." And now here we are, the shock page. I said, "What the hell was that?" And then I said, "How long have you been doing that?" He said, "Oh, I changed that a while back." That's the problem. Why the hell would we call anything? I'm like, where in the presentation does it say shock page? Why would we ever use a term like that? That's a scary term. All of a sudden we get to the shock page, and the shock page is almost like, oh shit, they just disclosed something. Oh, I just found something out. Oh my goodness. No, we don't ever use terms like that. Immediately I said, you got to cut that out. That's obviously what the problem is. And he didn't think something as simple as two words, the shock page, would have such an impact. Absolutely it does. You don't tell somebody that. Imagine if you go to a mechanic and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, let me show you the big problem of the car." What? Or let me show you the big problem with my work. What the hell is that? So that's exactly what happened. That's not the good comparison. But the reality is, we don't say shock page, especially when we're doing a presentation. That just pumps the brakes on everybody. Everybody's like, they're just going to hold off. And they get worried and they get scared. The shock page, why would he disclose the shock page to me? So anyways, he changed it. He went back to normal. Immediately, his results went back up to normal. He started closing and converting at the levels he was at when he was a top producer. So you got to stick with the basics. You got to stick with what works. And when something works, you got to be a robot. You can't just change things. And I know sometimes when we're dealing with scripts and presentations, we want to make it our own. I get it. You want to customize it a little bit. I get it. But you can't use certain terms and change the whole entire process or system. It's got to follow a certain routine. And you got to become a robot. A lot of people don't like that. Oh, I'm just being repetitive, man. It gets boring when I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. What do you mean? You're getting wins? You're succeeding? You're getting sign off after sign off, customer after customer, closing after closing? Yeah, that's the kind of robot I want to be. So sometimes when something works, you got to just follow the same thing over and over and over again. And you got to remind yourself and tell yourself, I got to be a robot. Once you fine tune it, I got to be a robot. I got to do this 5 times, 10 times, 50 times, 1,000 times, because that's how you're going to get success. A lot of people say, oh, I want to make more money. Well, how many deals have you got in the past? Oh, I got these deals. Are you doing exactly the same? Oh, well, kind of. The problem is if you're not using a script, you're winging it. You're winging it. You got to sound like a robot. Every time you do a presentation, you could show a video or a mental video of it. That video presentation, once you're really good at it, it should be the same one 2 years ago as it is today. And that's how you duplicate success. Don't change it. Don't shortcut it. Do the same thing over and over again when it works. But getting back to basics, a lot of times people don't want to use a sales system or sales presentation and they wing it. They think they're good enough. Oh, I've been in the business for 10 years. Oh, I've been in the business for 20 years. Oh, I've made hundreds of thousands. So what? Because when times are tough, like, the market changes and things like that, you have to adjust and you have to present it. But if you have a sales and lead systems that work, you have to follow the same sales presentation. You got to treat everybody the same way. As far as if you generated a lead a certain way, you got to follow up with a certain way as far as the sales presentation, because it has to match. You can't throw people off. And again, if something's working or not working, you have to figure out how to fix it. If you're always winging it, you don't know what you're fixing. All of a sudden, did your appearance change? Did your attitude change? Did your motivation change? What changed? Your words. And then that's the thing, is like, okay, which word changed? Your opening, your pre-qualification, your pre-close, which part changed? All of a sudden, do you have a different philosophy in life? Are you more of a talker now? So now you're talking about the weather, sunshine, all these things that you're just wasting time? What's going on? Did the market change and now you don't know how to adjust? So you got to use a presentation. You got to get back to basics and stick with it. The ABCs, always be closing, and you got to use a system for that.